Keep running!
Faster!
They're gaining!
Em mệt quá không đi nổi nữa.
Cố lên em, anh ở đây mà.
Em cố hết sức rồi.
Anh tin em, mình về nhà thôi.
Hello, dear viewers. Today, we bring you a dramatic and emotional story. While CEO Quan left the farm to handle urgent business, two dangerous men took advantage of his absence and stormed in to cause trouble for Tieu Lac. In what was once a peaceful and loving place, Tieu Lac suddenly found herself in serious danger, terrified and forced to run for her safety. Just when she felt completely hopeless, CEO Quan appeared in time and brought her back into his protective arms. But what is the real motive behind this incident? Who are those men? And is this storm truly over? If you enjoy emotional love stories filled with drama, protection, and sacrifice like this one, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next episodes. Your support is the biggest motivation for us to continue creating more touching stories every day. The afternoon at the farm was unusually quiet the day CEO Quan left to handle urgent business in the city. The sky stretched wide and pale above the fields, and a soft wind moved gently through the rows of vegetables Tieu Lac had spent months nurturing with care. Normally, the farm felt like a safe haven, warm, simple, and filled with life. But that day, the silence felt heavier, as if something unseen was creeping closer with every passing minute. Tieu Lac was alone, kneeling beside a patch of young seedlings, brushing soil from her hands after finishing her work. She had grown used to these peaceful hours, finding comfort in the rhythm of tending crops and feeding the chickens. Yet, without Quan's presence, the space felt strangely vulnerable. She told herself she was imagining things when she heard a faint crunch of gravel behind her. When she turned around, two unfamiliar men were standing near the wooden gate. Their expressions were cold, their movements slow and deliberate. They did not look like lost travelers or delivery workers. Instead, there was something unsettling in the way they scanned the property, as if measuring its weaknesses. Tieu Lac's heart skipped a beat. "Who are you? What do you want?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the sudden wave of fear rising inside her. The men exchanged glances and smirked. They stepped further into the farm without permission, boots pressing into the soft earth. One of them kicked over a basket of freshly harvested vegetables, letting them scatter across the ground. The other ran his hand along the wooden fence, pushing it roughly as if testing its strength. "Where's CEO Quan?" one of them asked in a low, mocking tone. The question sent a chill down her spine, so they knew exactly who he was. This was not random. "He's not here," she replied instinctively, immediately regretting her honesty. The moment the words left her lips, she realized she had confirmed what they wanted to know. The men's smiles widened. Without Quan at the farm, Tieu Lac suddenly felt how isolated the place truly was. The nearest neighbor lived far down the dirt road. There were no security guards, no loud city noise, only open fields and endless sky. The beauty that once made the farm feel like paradise now made it frighteningly exposed. The wind grew stronger, lifting strands of her hair across her face as tension thickened in the air. One of the men took a step closer, his shadow stretching toward her feet. She forced herself not to step back, but her fingers trembled uncontrollably. "Such a quiet place," the other man muttered. "Anything could happen here." Her pulse pounded in her ears. Every instant told her these men were not here to talk. They were testing her fear, enjoying the way her breathing grew uneven. She quickly glanced toward the road, calculating the distance in her mind. The farm that once symbolized hope and new beginnings now felt like a trap. And for the first time since coming here with CEO Quan, Tieu Lac realized just how dangerous love could be when someone wanted to use it as leverage. The moment Tieu Lac realized the two men had no intention of leaving, Panic began to spread through her chest like wildfire. The peaceful rhythm of the farm shattered completely as one of them deliberately shoved a wooden crate to the ground. It crashed loudly, the sharp sound echoing across the empty fields. Chickens scattered in fright, flapping wildly, and the once calm afternoon turned into chaos within seconds. "Stop it!" Tieu Lac cried out, her voice trembling despite her attempt to sound brave. She rushed forward instinctively, trying to gather the vegetables that had been kicked aside, but one of the men stepped in front of her, blocking her path. His presence was overwhelming, tall, intimidating, and far too close. She could smell the faint scent of cigarette smoke clinging to his jacket. Her hands froze midair as her mind screamed at her to stay calm. "Relax," he said coldly. "We're just having a little look around." The other man picked up a watering can and threw it carelessly toward the fence. It hit the wooden post with a dull clang before rolling into the dirt. Every deliberate act of destruction felt like a warning. They weren't just causing trouble, they were sending a message. Tieu Lac's heart pounded harder. She understood now that they wanted to intimidate her, to make her feel small and powerless without CEO Quan by her side. The thought of Quan being unaware of what was happening filled her with both fear and determination. She couldn't let them hurt the farm. This place meant too much to both of them. "Please leave," she said again, her voice softer now but firm. "If you have a problem, talk to him directly." The men laughed, a low and mocking sound that made her skin crawl. "Maybe we prefer talking to you," one of them replied. That was the moment her fear tipped into survival instinct. One of the men suddenly grabbed a wooden chair from outside the farmhouse and slammed it onto the ground. The loud crack made her flinch. She stepped backward, her heels swiping slightly on loose soil. The sky, once bright and calm, now felt suffocating above her. Her breathing grew shallow. She quickly scanned her surroundings, the open barn door, the narrow path leading to the dirt road, the small storage shed. There was nowhere truly safe to hide. If they decided to chase her, she would have little chance of defending herself. The men began walking toward her again, slow and deliberate, as if enjoying every second of her fear. The distance between them closed rapidly. "You shouldn't be alone here," one of them muttered, his tone heavy with implication. That was enough. Without thinking further, Tieu Lac turned and ran. Her legs moved faster than her mind could process. She sprinted past the vegetable rows, nearly stumbling over a basket left on the ground. The wind rushed past her ears, carrying the sound of footsteps behind her. She didn't dare look back. Tears blurred her vision, but she kept running toward the dirt road that led away from the farm. Her chest burned with each breath, and her heart hammered violently against her ribs. She could hear them shouting something behind her, though the words were lost in the pounding of her pulse. All she knew was that she had to get away. The once beautiful farm now felt like a battlefield she had no power to win. And as fear overwhelmed her, one desperate hope filled her mind. She needed CEO Quan to come back. Tieu Lac's lungs burned as she ran down the dirt road, her vision blurred by tears and fear. The sound of her own heartbeat thundered in her ears, drowning out everything else. She didn't know how far she had gone, only that she couldn't stop. The image of the two men stepping toward her replayed in her mind over and over, pushing her forward even as her legs began to weaken. The late afternoon sun was sinking lower, casting long shadows across the empty road. The farm that once felt like home now seemed distant behind her. She risked a glance over her shoulder, terrified she might see them chasing her. For a split second, she thought she heard footsteps again. Then, from the far end of the road, the unmistakable sound of an engine cut through the silence. A black car appeared in the distance, driving fast toward the farm. Her heart skipped. She knew that car. "Quan," she whispered breathlessly. The vehicle slowed abruptly when the driver spotted her stumbling in the middle of the road. The brakes screeched softly against the gravel as CEO Quan stepped out almost immediately, his expression shifting from confusion to alarm the moment he saw her face. "Tieu Lac," he called out, rushing toward her. She tried to speak, but no words came. Her body, fueled by pure adrenaline moments before, suddenly felt weak. As soon as she reached him, her legs gave out. Quan caught her before she could fall, pulling her tightly into his arms. She was trembling uncontrollably. Her fingers clutched at his shirt as if he were the only solid thing left in the world. He could feel her rapid breathing against his chest, hear the soft sobs she tried to suppress. What happened? Who did this? His voice was low, but beneath it burned a fierce anger. She shook her head, struggling to form coherent words. "Two men. They came to the farm. They were looking for you." The moment he heard that, his jaw tightened. His eyes darkened in a way she had rarely seen before. He gently lifted her into the passenger seat of the car, making sure she was safe, then quickly scanned the road behind them. The area looked empty now, but the tension in the air hadn't disappeared. He got back into the driver's seat and immediately turned the car around toward the farm. As they drove, Tieu Lac leaned against the seat, still shaking. Quan reached over with one hand and held hers firmly. His grip was warm, steady, reassuring. It grounded her. "I'm here now. No one will hurt you." Tears streamed down her cheeks again, not from fear this time, but from relief. In that moment, nothing felt more real than his presence beside her. When they arrived back at the farm, the scattered vegetables and broken chair were still lying where they had been thrown. The damage was obvious. Quan stepped out of the car, his gaze sweeping over the scene with cold precision. He helped Tieu Lac out gently and pulled her into his arms once more. She buried her face against his chest, finally allowing herself to cry openly. Behind them, the fields swayed silently in the wind. In front of them, the farm stood wounded but not defeated. And as Quan held her close, one silent promise echoed in his heart. He would protect her at any cost.